I started poultry farming way back in 1990. But as a young person, as a child, I had a chicken and I named it Kuria. I loved it so much. It would eat from my plate. My mother would always quarrel with me. Moses, why do you allow a chicken to eat from your plate? Because this chicken would go out. It was free range. Yes, I'm Pastor Moses Solomon Male. I'm a farmer. I'm a cleric. I'm involved in poultry farming, involved in hatching business. I'm a breeder, and I work with my team, which consists of family members and workers. And I thank God I'm at the forefront of fighting against immorality in this country, moral decadence in this country. To do so, I've ventured out to ensure that I mentor people into productivity, because many people today think that money is going to fall from heaven so that they eat, so that they satisfy their needs. Yet, biblically and Quranically, you must toil for a living. I'm a mentor, and I have motivated many people to start up businesses so that they can earn a living and stop begging for money, begging for a living. I always decry when I see birds flying in from South Africa, chicken meat being flown in from South Africa, from Brazil, eggs coming from as far as China, India. When I see fruits coming from Kenya, maize coming from Tanzania, all these feed coming from the Netherlands, coming from Belgium, coming from Turkey and other countries, yet we are able, we have the capacity, we have the ability, we have the resources to get all this done. I started poultry farming way back in 1990. But as a young person, as a child, I had a chicken and I named it Kuria. I loved it so much. It would eat from my plate. My mother would always quarrel with me. Moses, why do you allow a chicken to eat from your plate? Because this chicken would go out. It was free range. It would go out in the morning, scratch, eat worms and so on and so forth, then come and we eat together. But I would not heed. Then one day, that chicken fell sick. And during those years, the only remedy was njaga, which is opium, and kamulali, which is chilies, red chilies. So I gave them opium and red chilies. It refused. It didn't heal. Then mom told me that we need to eat that chicken before it dies. I loved it. I refused. I cried. She ordered for its slaughter, and I said, fine. If it is slaughtered, I'll not eat. And I never ate it. I never even went where it was slaughtered because it was painful for me. And I said, one day when I grow up, I'll rear chicken. 1989, I married my wife. Soon after marriage, I told her, do you know, we need to start up a poultry farm. She said, with who? I said, with you. I said, no, I didn't come here to rear chicken, to touch in chicken dung, droppings. No, I came here to get married. I'm a wife. I said, but we need. I said, no, I'm not going to be part of it. Then I said, oh, fine. She loved the chicken. She loved eggs. I refused to buy chicken and refused to buy eggs. So one time I came back, she had cooked a chicken. I asked her, where did you get the chicken from? I bought it. Where did you get the money from? The one you've been giving me to keep. Say, oh, since you love chicken, you bought it to eat it. I'll not eat. I said, why? Why aren't you eating? I said, no. I'm not greedy for chicken, and I'm not yearning for it, for chicken. You can eat it and be satisfied. So he decided to take away the food and the chicken. I grabbed the food. She quarreled. I ate food without sauce. Then time down the road, she realized I was serious. She said, okay, we can start rearing chicken. But of course, the intent was not to rear chicken, but because that was where money was. So I struggled with her. You see, being foresighted, with someone not ready to support you was really a very stumbling block. But anyway, we started. Then one day, Bazung came here. They were led by a lady called Gawera Feibe. Gawera Feibe was a widow, but she passed on. She came with this Bazung and said, these Bazung are interested in what you're doing. They want to partner with you so that you can hatch chicken here. I told my wife, they are Bazung who want to partner with us. Said, with who? With us. Who's going to market? Me and you. Said, no, I'm not part of it. You can do your own business, I do mine. She refused. Said, but why should we get married and then not see things the same way? You see, there's something that I learned. Many times we get infatuated, excited, attracted to people, not by a vision, but because of, say, beauty, money. You think she's appetizing, or you think, but really, stable marriages, the basic key is sharing a vision. I married a wife without whom I was sharing a vision, and getting along with her was not that easy, because every step I would decide to take, she would simply lag behind. You drag someone, you keep dragging. Then I said, fine, that being the case, let me wait. I prayed that my children grow up and we work together. So when my children joined university, throughout their primaries and secondaries, they would be in charge of looking after the chicken, preparing the feeds, marketing the eggs and the meat, everything. And whenever I would get the money, we would share it. They would see that money has come from chicken, money has come from chicken meat, money has come from eggs. So they grew up knowing that chicken can be reared and as a business. By 2010, my children were at university. Some, the first two went to the university. The third also joined. And I decided that they take on evening courses. Why? Daytime, we work together. Evening time, they go to school for their courses. So that's how we managed to bring up this. Then 2011, there was a very big challenge. Feed skyrocketed. Maize was above 2,000. Maize bran was 1,500 a kilo. Many people sold off their chicken. Others lost them because of inability to feed them. So what we decided was to scale down, not to dispose of all of them, but scale down. So we scaled down and then say, how best can we earn? Then a friend of mine, that was Pastor Sozi, told me, but you can make good money when you start breeding broiler birds. Initially, we were in broilers, they were not making money. Layers, they were not making money. Even right now, many people in layers are crying. Why are they crying? The egg price has fallen to 9,000. It's only if you have so many and are able to stock feed when maize is so low. But if you are going to depend on the market to stock maize to feed your birds, you can't break even. So, Pastor Sozi introduced me to the broilers with a friend, Dr. Lule, and that's how we entered the broiler business.
So now
Yeah, but broiler business, broiler, and local. So here we've concentrated on broilers, but we breed all others except layers, and then we market them. We hatch and sell the day-old chicks. With broilers, we also sell the brooded. If you don't want to bother with brooding, we sell broilers only day-old. Every business is risky. Actually, you go to town and see how many buildings are empty, how many shop stores are empty. Why are they empty? Because people get in, they pay rent, they fail to make money, rent eats up all their savings, and then they pack up and leave. So every business has a risk. So even poultry farming has a risk. That is why an entrepreneur is a risk taker. Actually, there's something I thought of, that instead of bothering young people with all of these courses, would concentrate on giving them entrepreneurial skills so that young people leave schooling when they are entrepreneurs. Because even medics, they need to know how to manage their clinics. Pharmacies, it's business, you sell. Because every venture you go in, you must have a sales outlet. If you must have a sales outlet for your shoes, for your eggs, for your bananas, for your sweaters, for your shirts, for sweets, for biscuits, for cakes, for bread, for virtually everything you do, even mats, then why isn't entrepreneurship key? There's also something I suggested, that we need to promote what I would call cottage industry. What is a cottage industry? This is business done under the roof, under the home. And who are the workers? The basic workers who cannot pack up their bags and leave are the home members or household members. Me as the head, my wife, my children. And I've looked at that model. It has worked in Asia, it has worked in Europe, it has worked in America. But then these people came in here and told us that if you're educated, you study to get a job. You study to look for a job. And that's why entrepreneurship is failing. Now, we had a seminar at Golden Tulip in Kampala. And I brought in a proposal that we need to promote cottage industry, where husband and wife and children work together to promote a business. In Europe and America, families are known by the occupation they engage in. The miners. Miner is a family name. Forester is a family name. Then clerk, because the grandfather was a clerk, the mother was a clerk, father was a clerk, so that is a clerk. Then shepherd is a name. It's a surname, because these are shepherds. Then and so on and so forth. Lumber. So people are named by the occupations they engage in Europe. Now, why don't we have that? So I proposed at Golden Tulip that we promote cottage industry. And you know what happened? One man rose up, very wealthy, involved in what we call ranching. He stood up and said, Pastor Male, you are bringing a very, very terrible idea. You are promoting cottage industry where I work with my wife and my children. He said, no, that is very dangerous. How can you employ? How can you work with somebody you cannot rebuke? You cannot direct. You cannot advise. You cannot penalize. You cannot dismiss. Say, I don't support that. Some supported what I was saying, others opposed it. Sadly, I think about 6 months down the road or 7, I got a message on my WhatsApp. That man had died, had passed on. I said, now, he hadn't involved his family. How is his business going to thrive or to survive? One of the issues that really bothers me is that you struggle as a man or struggle as a woman. You bring up business. Starting up a business is not easy. Running it and maintaining it is far more difficult. Now, then you die and it collapses, it dies with you. That's what we've seen. It's because we don't mentor our own to take over when we are dying. Contrary to what the Indians do, the Asians do. The Asians mentor their own household members, children, so that even if the father dies, the business remains. That's what the Europeans do. Here, we don't do it. So that's why I've struggled to ensure that I mentor my own children to take over when I die.
So to improve it.
Even if I'm not around, they can do it. But of course, you see, running business with your own children is also not easy. You have to be stomaching, you have to be patient, because young people want to get rich so fast. Where you've struggled for 50 years to get where you are, 60 years to get where you are, for them, they want to get where you are within just 1 year. That is the challenge. And that is why many businesses collapse, even when their initiators are still living. Yes.
Yeah, incubator right now.
Yes, this is an incubator. An incubator is where eggs are set. This is a hatching business we are involved in. Okay, we rear the birds, we produce the eggs, that is breeding. Then after producing the eggs, we bring them in here for hatching. We also allow in eggs from other people. They bring them, we hatch for them. When they hatch, we vaccinate the old Marek's, Newcastle infectious bronchitis, so that they take pre-vaccinated birds. So when we gather our eggs and people bring their eggs, we load them in these machines. We have 2 machines of this nature. So weekly we have the capacity to take in 10,000 eggs. But of course, business is so low nowadays. We are using only 1 machine, not 2. So this is the incubator. In here, eggs stay for 17 days. On the 18th days, we get them out and hatch them. Every week on Monday, we load this machine. The maximum it can take are 5,000 eggs every week. So we load every Monday. Yesterday, no. On Monday we loaded. Next Monday we'll also load another batch. So today we are getting out the batch we loaded 17 days ago or 18 days ago.
So it will be ready?
No, we are getting them out, take them for candling, check which have chicks and which have no chicks, then get those which have chicks, put them into the incubator. Then in the incubator, they'll stay for 3 days. We get them out on Tuesday. When they get into the incubator, that's what we call the lockdown stage. Actually, before COVID came, people never knew what lockdown was. But in hatching, lockdown is a word that has been used for centuries. Lockdown means don't open, don't tamper, let it settle and hatch. During the last 3 days of the chicken hatching, you know that it does not get off. That's when they see thin. They sacrifice, chicken sacrifice for 3 days. No feed, no water, no resting, no what. They stay on the eggs until they are sure that all the chicks that would have hatched hatch. Then they get off. Of course, there are some which don't hatch. But they have the sensors to determine that no, this won't hatch. Enough is enough. Let me go out with what I've got. Candling, then after candling, into the incubator.
How many days?
3 days. We put them today. Today we are candling. They will stay in tomorrow and they'll stay in Monday, then Tuesday morning hours we get them out. Yes. So this is the incubator. This incubator is automatic. It turns eggs. It turns like this. But it turns, when it turns this side, it spends there 1 hour. No, 45 minutes. Then it turns for about 10 minutes. It goes this side, it also spends there another 45 to 48 minutes. It says like this. Then after 45 to 48 minutes, it turns again. It does what a chicken does. It keeps scratching its eggs, turning them. If you don't turn that egg, then the chick will sink into the egg white and it will die. So that's why this machine has to be automatic. If it's not automatic, then you turn it by hand. But for us, it's automatic. Everything is automated. And when electricity goes, then we switch on the generator. Yeah, we have an electricity generator. We have a generator. This machine runs on electricity. What we always pray that government reduces the power tariff for even small scale farmers, because if a privilege is given to a so-called investor who uses power at 400 shillings, and then you let me use power at 800 or 1,000 shillings, then you create a disparity. Okay, because one, my cost of production will be higher than the investor's cost of production. That means I'll not be able to get into the market. Even if I get into the market, I'll be outcompeted because of the price. Government should be looking at this. Let power be uniform, whether domestic, whether what. Actually, these investors should even be paying higher rates from outside, because they say they come in with money, but then government does this. Government gives them money, gives them land free, connects them on the national grid free. Sometimes it even borrows for them low interest loans, or guarantees them to borrow low interest for loans from local banks and foreign banks. And at the end of the day, give them reduced power tariffs. Then give them tax holiday for 10 years. Tell me, how will a Ugandan indigenous not categorized as an investor? How do you expect that Ugandan to compete and still survive? That's why Ugandans are being pushed out of business by Chinese, by Indians, by now the Dutch, by South Africans, because of the inequality that has been brought about by government policy of giving privileges to foreigners and putting Ugandans at a disadvantage. In as much as we want investments, fine, but these foreigners should be coming in to invest where Ugandans cannot invest. How can a Chinese, Indian, Dutch be allowed to invest in poultry? Let them go into mining, which requires a lot of money. Okay, now that is why I'm saying no. Government is favoring foreigners and it's doing Ugandans a disservice, and it is contributing toward the mass poverty. That's why we have so many Ugandans flocking the Middle East for cheyo, yet they would be here making money out of their toils. But many come back when their productive lives are wasted, and all they have to do is to live a stressful life until they die. No, we need to change that, because we want Ugandans to also be free and from their toil and then build our country. No one is going to build our country. Foreigners are not going to build our country. They are just going to come in, milk us, and go back. So this is Hatchery. So today we are getting in eggs, getting out eggs. This is we are getting out eggs, which were set on 23rd. Let me first check.